Hello, my name's Martin. I'm the lead developer of Ubuntu Mate, and I'm going to show you another new feature in Ubuntu Mate 15.04, which is first-class Compiz integration for the Mate desktop. I've worked with the upstream Compiz team in Ubuntu in order to port some compatibility plugins and integration layers to Mate desktop, and the result is built into Ubuntu Mate 15.04. And the way that we enable Compiz is we go to our look and feel and Mate tweak, and then here under window manager, currently using Marco. From the drop down menu choose Compiz, and then we just wait a second or two whilst Compiz is enabled and the window decorations are re-established, and there we go, we're now running Compiz. Now the question is, how would you know? So what we're going to do is just start a few applications. So we'll have the calculator, we'll have a terminal, and we'll also have the file manager. There we go. So now I've got three applications running. And how do we know? Well, the first clue is very subtle. You'll notice now with Compiz, the primary window is ever so slightly brighter than these, so it auto dims the inactive windows just a little bit. And this is a very subtle effect I've added. And now you'll notice as I move a window around, there's very slight opacity on the window that's being moved. So what I've tried to do is make the built-in effects for Compiz subtle and useful. So hopefully the window dimming just helps draw your eye to the active application, and this just helps you position your windows by seeing what's beneath them. You might notice that things are a bit stuttery here. I'm actually doing this demonstration on an IBM ThinkPad X61S, which is about 8 years old. It hasn't got a very pokey graphics GPU. It's an integrated Intel thing from some time ago, and it's also a fairly wimpy Core 2 Duo embedded CPU. So it's doing the Compiz rendering and it's also doing the screen capturing at the same time. So it's not doing a bad job for a machine of this vintage, I don't think. Another way that you can immediately tell whether Compiz is running is when you use window snapping. You'll see there's a slight transition that's used. So window snapping works like this, and you can actually snap to the quadrants. So here we go, we'll snap to 3 of the quadrants, maybe the terminal we want on the bottom half of the screen. So there we go. That's how you can do window snapping. And although Marco supports window snapping, it only supports snapping to the left and right of the screen at the moment. Now once you've got your applications running, you may need to switch between them. So if we just jiggle these about a little bit. There we go. Alt and Tab is the Windows switcher. So there we go. Just like you'd expect. Transitions are slow with the screen capturing going here as well. Now you can also expose the desktop, and you do that with Super W, so you can get an overview of everything that's on your current workspace. That's Super W. And of course there are multiple workspaces, so you can use Control, Alt and Cursor up, and there's an expose of all the workspaces. I'm only using one at the moment, so what can we do about that? Well, you can switch between them quickly with Control, Alt, Cursor left and Cursor right, and you'll see there's the cube animation there. And if you want to take an application to a workspace, Control, Alt, Shift and Cursor left and right, so this way we're going to drag the terminal with us. So I've taken the terminal one workspace over. I can then go back. This time I'm going to grab the calculator and take that. Oops, did I grab that? Maybe I need to highlight the window. Grab that and take that 2 windows over. So now when I look at my workspaces, you can now see that I've got 3 applications, one on each workspace. Another way to switch applications is to rotate the desktop cube, and you do that by holding down Control and Alt, using the left mouse button and then moving the mouse around, and there we go, there's the transition for the cube. And again, running a little bit jerkily on this old laptop, but nevertheless I'm doing 3D rendering on the desktop and screen capping on on this really old machine. I'm quite surprised it hasn't fallen in a heap at this point. Now, what you might be noticing, the keen-eyed among you, is there is no Compiz config settings manager in here. And also, if you go hunting through these menus, you won't find Emerald either. These are tools. Compiz Settings Manager is a way that you can tweak the configuration to your heart's desire. I've deliberately left that out so that people that aren't familiar with Compiz don't get attracted to go in there and start turning things on and off and potentially kill their Compiz rendering completely. So I've left it out by default, but I realise that there are tweakers and tinkerers and Compiz enthusiasts out there. So if you want it, just go to the Software Centre or apt-get install it, and you can then tweak the settings. And you could enable wobbly windows if you wanted as well. I've turned that off by default, although I think it's quite fun. It does make the desktop look a little bit like a toy and not very serious. But if we search for Compiz in here, Compiz Settings Manager, there you go, that's the one that you would want. I'll tell you what, why don't we do it? Let's install it. And the reason why I haven't included Emerald is because the theming is integrated into Compiz, so it actually uses the GTK window decorator. So if you want to change the window border theming, you can do that in the usual way. You just go, to the appearance settings. Let's switch to ambient Mate. There we go, and you'll notice the Windows decorations have switched accordingly. So you can use your usual themes to provide, the window decorator themes, and you can do the usual customizations with that. So Compiz Settings Manager is installed, and then you'll find that in here under Look and Feel. And if you open this up, it will tell you the first time you run it, this is an advanced tool, use with caution. So there you go. And if you agree to that, and here you go, here you can see the Compiz, the Mate compatibility plugin is enabled. That's what's making some of this magic possible. And if you really want to turn on wobbly windows, you'll see it's here. That will conflict with snapping windows. So what I do is turn off snapping windows first, and then go back to wobbly windows and turn that on. Then we can close this. And if I just do that, you'll now notice our windows wobble, and there we go, it's 2010 all over again. Now, for all these fun and games, there is actually a practical application to having Compiz available. I'm going to turn wobbly windows off because this poor computer's gonna die, I'm sure, if I ask too much of it. So let's just turn off wobbly windows and re-enable Windows snapping. There we go, snapping windows, it's done. Where was I? We were going to do practical applications of Compiz. So the first is some people were experiencing screen tearing issues with Ubuntu Mate 14.04. There was a kernel issue there that was exacerbating that slightly, but using Compiz was a good way to work around that if you've got a machine that's capable of running Compiz. So one of the reasons I'm providing it is to provide a tear-free experience. The other, of course, is that you get all of these nice effects, and it makes the desktop look a little bit more professional and polished, and takes something like Mate Desktop, which is traditional, and gives it a little bit of shine. But the other reason is for accessibility features, and this is integrated by default. The Mate Desktop doesn't currently have an integrated screen magnifier, so I've integrated the enhanced zoom, and you can zoom the desktop with super key M, so we can zoom in, zoom, and we can zoom out with super key N. And I've added this so that individuals that are visually impaired have got a high quality screen magnification utility built in. One issue I found with Compiz is it doesn't seem to play very nicely when I've plugged in projectors and things like that to do presentations. So if you're going to plug into a projector, I suggest you hurry back to Mate Tweak, go back to the Windows, and then switch back to Marco. And there we go, we're back to Marco, and you can see everything's rendering that bit quicker now. So there it is. That's the Compiz integration into Ubuntu Mate 15.04. I hope I've left enough out that the YouTubers and the tweakers can still have some fun with the settings manager and Emerald. And for those of you that just want to turn it on and have it work, I hope it's a nice simple way to get some polished desktop effects on Ubuntu Mate 15.04.